Dinner's ready, Jack. Still?
This doesn't happen to me.
You should eat.
I can't.
Well, you should try.
It's never happened to me, Beth.
Never?
Not since I started, not like this.
It's just writer's block.
Writer's block is for hacks and amateurs.
Well, there you go. There's your problem, then.
Don't joke like that, not now.
Come to dinner, Jack. I'm tired of eating alone.
Okay, I'll be down in a little bit. It's just not coming. Why did you take it from me now?
Jack, is that you? Jack, how's your run?
Good. I think I'm gonna go upstairs for a little bit.
To work?
Yeah, for a while.
Why don't you come down when you're done, and we can watch one of the movies we rented?
Don't you have an appointment in the morning?
I don't mind staying awake for a bit. Come down.
Alright. The church was old, its high brick walls reaching skyward, the tallest structure for miles. Its bell tower, silent for decades, was a mottled, decaying white. Whatever eyes peered from atop its steeple had seen little change over the past 100 years. The road was still small, narrow, and there were no other buildings for miles, save for an occasional dwelling. Some were built exquisitely, constructed with great expense and care. Most, however, were hovels, dim little homes with dirty windows and peeling paint. The few cars that passed through always slowed, curious eyes devouring the evidence of squalor and decay. One night, the church had had enough. The church had had enough? What the hell is that? I'm sorry. They came from nowhere, and soon they were everywhere. The onslaught was merciless, and no one could stand in their path. Their ships raced through system after system, pillaging and destroying. They had no interest in conquest. They had no real desire, it seemed, to subjugate the colonies they encountered. Instead, they burned it all to the ground, and when that was done, they massacred every last man, woman, and child of the colonies. They were, they claimed, the cleansing fire destined to set creation back to its very beginning. In a flash, they reached Earth. The helpless hordes of humanity had watched in horror as the aliens reduced the Mars and Io colonies to ash and debris. With all their might, humanity prepared to make its last, desperate stand. That's the hook. What do you think?
I think it's been done, but what the hell hasn't? How soon can you have it to me?
I'm not sure. What you heard is pretty much all I have.
You mean you called me with nothing more than a dust jacket?
It's been rough, okay? I think I can make this work.
How long until you have something?
I don't know. How long do I have?
Not long. You can't live on your royalties forever, Jack. You're not Stephen King.
I'll call you when I have something. The orbital cannons were quickly aimed at the coming onslaught. Their ceaseless barrage of weapons fire hardly dented the oncoming forces. When the ships finally reached Earth, they reached out like a mighty fist and swatted away the orbital platforms. The situation was grave, hopeless. God had written himself into a corner. I started a story today.
What kind?
Science fiction.
I thought you hated science fiction.
I do, but maybe it's time to try something different.
And you're too chicken to try a Harlequin?
It's not as funny as you think it is.
I'm sorry. Are you going out for a run?
Yeah.
Maybe you should try a love story. You could use a little romance in your life.
Any ideas? Caleb Banner was half a man. What the other half was, who could say? What scant fragments of humanity remained in the man's soul were not the kind, generous fragments that the benevolent among us possess. Caleb, instead, was left with the cunning, the base selfishness which all men possess, and the hatred of a practiced skeptic. He had no conscience. He had no heart. What little joy he took from life, he took from the hunt, from the kill. He was an artist, or so he liked to think. His work was very important to him. If the men and women in the books he read could kill indiscriminately, then why couldn't he? After all, he was sure that such things could not be printed unless they were true. Caleb trusted his books. His books didn't lie to him. They lay open, all their secrets quickly divulged in that glorious moment of the climax. A good story, Caleb thought, was like making love. There must be mutual affection between lovers for the magic to work its power. So it was with Caleb and his books.
Do you have an idea?
We'll see.
You're not going to tell me.
You wouldn't like it. Why don't you go back to bed? I'll be in a little bit.